Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This is my top 10 stocks as we head into Tuesday, December 19th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this would be a video for you. First off, a couple clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right there will still be moving around. That's because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one, ticker symbol PBLA, and what a monster move here. Has just really exploded. And as I speak right now, sure, the price has pulled back here a little bit. So this is where it gets a little tricky, because if you're some sort of day trader, flipper, scalper, whatever you want to call yourself, and you were buying up around this area and your plan was to buy and sell within 10 minutes, well then yes, from that standpoint, the chart's looking pretty rough. But assuming you care about the bigger picture point of view, part of the bigger picture is, admitting, okay, yeah, fair enough. Right now the price is pulled back. But what was going on before this pullback? And you had this big old move right here, which is now giving me the ability to draw this bull flag pattern. So as right now, we just have a big bull flag pattern. And, maybe you don't think it's bullish chart because, like I said, that could be a matter of perspective and where you bought and what your strategy actually was. But just that's what I'm trying to distinguish between somebody that cares about more so the bigger picture and for somebody that maybe is some kind of day trader. But anyway, look at it. Huge volume today. Very, very nice volatility. And if you like bull flags, then I definitely keep an eye on it moving forward. Next one here, ticker symbol IVVD, and nice pattern here. And again, one of these that you got to think several people are watching. As I draw that trend line in right there, let me be very clear, that's not a difficult trend line to draw, so I'm not trying to impress you. I'm not trying to imply that's some sort of great discovery. A lot of people have drawn that trend line, and I say all that because when a lot of people are watching the same level, wondering the same things, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movements, and that's what we have with this trend line. So while nothing is guaranteed, my point here is that, is it plausible? Is it reasonable that if the price can come up here, get a break up through that line, that break in and of itself could create additional buying pressure? That is certainly a plausible outcome. So if you like these situations where you have very, very well-defined levels so you can get those potential self-fulfilling prophecies, certainly keep an eye on, especially if you like the stocks in the price range of down here below $10. Next one, ticker symbol BMRA, and interesting chart here. Last 30 minutes, not so hot as it's pulling back, but grand scheme of things, everything is still perfectly fine, and that's where I want to get this initial trend line put into place here for more of just an overall support trend line. So let me change that to green to represent support. So if you're someone that likes to play, there you go. If you like to play pullbacks more so, then that could be a very interesting level. You can see every time the price has been down around this level, there's been some nice upwards movements here. Does that mean that it'll come down and once again give you an upwards movement? Of course not, but it goes back to just, is it at least plausible? Is it reasonable? Absolutely. So keep an eye on that level if you like to play more so supports and pullbacks. If as far as resistances are concerned and those breakouts, the key level here from a breakout standpoint seems to be right here around this $2 mark. I realize the price did technically go up above there a couple of times, but just trying to find a common kind of just middle ground, that $2 mark, plus it's just a big round number, in my mind makes a whole lot of sense. So overall, a couple of well-defined levels, so we'll see how this one continues to play out on the week. Next one here, MARA, and this thing just continues to grind higher and higher, and that's the name of the game from a trend building standpoint, putting in higher highs and higher lows, and again, that's what was accomplished here. I'm going to go ahead and delete these lines out as they've served their purpose for now, and we'll get some newer levels mapped out. So one of the newest levels as far as support is concerned is this level right here at $19.20, and this is just based around a general rule in charting which states when levels of resistance, and you can see right there, did indeed act as resistance, but when they're broken and closed above, you want to see them act as support. So moving forward in terms of what would make this chart look the absolute healthiest and strongest, that would be if the price can stay above 1920. With that being said, don't get me wrong, it's not like if the price falls below that level, that means the entire chart's destroyed or anything like that. But yeah, if the price could stay above there, that would be great. But from the overarching standpoint, as long as the price stays above this purple line right here, the 50-period moving average, so as the name implies, that line's going to move itself and get higher and higher. So if you want to just envision that as a trend line that's drawing itself for you, then as long as the price remains above the trend line, then that means that the overall trend is still plenty bullish. In terms of areas of resistance, pretty straightforward, just a question of where did the party finally stop today, and the party stopped right up there at about $20.10, so that'll be the main area of resistance. So no fancy or complicated logic behind that at all. Literally just a question of where did the party finally stop, so we'll see if the price can break up through there. But all in all, the uptrend continues. Next one here, AMC, and started off very, very not so good on the day. There's a gap down. The price actually broke through that green line and dropped all the way down to that area right there, which is kind of hard to see. But after that, to give credit where credit's due, very impressive recovery. And then after the recovery, nothing really happened. What do I mean? Well, basically, so think about it. Before today, the price was in this range right here. And then you look at where the price is right now. Well, it's right back to the range it was. But all things considered, it's much better to be back in the range it was, as rather than having the price having gone down there and then started to go sideways, or worse yet, even continue to drop even further. So yes, today the price didn't do much in the sense of making progress from the range that it was in previously, but it did make progress from that opening 30 minutes by being able to fight back inside of that range. So moving forward, this level down here at 655-ish still remains very, very important in terms of areas of resistance. Yeah, you have this overarching trend line right there. But the more, I think important one would be right here, that pink line there, the 200 period moving average. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering later on in the week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box, or if you're watching at my site, there's an area right on the webpage you can click to get signed up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then certainly get signed up for the free live class. Next one here, ticker symbol NIO, and like MARA, this thing continues to grind and putting those higher highs and higher lows. So I'm just going to go ahead and clean things up here, and we'll start afresh as this thing is once again putting that higher high and higher low. And let's get a key trend line in place. I'm not going to, whoops, wrong. There we go. I'm not going to call this one blatantly obvious and say that a ton of people have drawn it, but I also am not going to say that it's hiding really. So I think a lot of people probably have drawn it. Is it as obvious as what other trend lines are? Probably not, but nonetheless, this is one that I find very interesting to keep an eye on. And then just from the support standpoint, you can see that the price got down here around this level of 822 several times. Let me change that to green. And then what we basically have here is a bull pennant pattern. So we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the nice upward move right there. To make it a little bit more visual, let me put the golf hole down there for you golfers. So here is the bull pennant pattern. And as I've already said, are there guarantees? No, but is it plausible that if the price comes up here and pushes up through the top part of this pattern, even if you just call that a self-fulfilling prophecy, that could generate just that much more buying pressure and momentum? That's certainly a reasonable outcome. So if you like this price range, you like bull pennants, keep an eye on it. Next one here, ticker symbol ICCT. Talked about this one last week, and let me go ahead and get rid of that level, because the first update, you could throw this right into a textbook, but talked about this level down here as resistance. But as I've already mentioned one time, when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see them act as support. And check it out. Price gapped up, big pullback, and to be fair, okay, fine. It did not hit that line exactly, but hopefully we can all agree it got within the very general ballpark of that area before finally starting to head back up. So a good example there on the power of charts, and I'll turn that into a quick plug. Get signed up for that class. But so nice to see that it recovered, or at least stabilized, and is starting to recover. And from the bigger picture point of view now, it's just a question of, is this thing going to pick back up more momentum to head back up to that area where it was in those highs? And that's for me, $2.45 is an interesting area of resistance right there. So as far as supports are concerned, as already mentioned, $1.80 is that newest level, and so far so good as it held right there. And if this thing is going to try to curl back upwards and get up to those highs, then yeah, in my mind, it's all about that 245 mark. But all things considered, good solid day, nice recovery underway. Next one, ticker symbol TSLA Tesla, and started off the day very, very nicely, broke out to that area of resistance, and then has then since kind of pulled back here. But once again, it's all about context, because sure, you can't deny the fact that it made the nice move. It's pulling back right here. But when you consider what was going on beforehand, well, you can see that there's been a bunch of higher lows that have been forming. So you do have a bit of a pullback, but it's still within that context of an environment where there's higher lows being put into play. So while it's not the most exciting thing, especially if you're a day trader that bought right there, it's not like the overall chart's destroyed or ruined or anything like that. It's just not as exciting as what things were when the price was starting off on the day and making those great moves right there. So kind of zooming back in here and looking at things very narrowly. Let's get a trend line into place. And you got to think, that's a pretty straightforward trend line right there, which brings up that talking point once again of self-fulfilling prophecies, and just throwing out the question, if the price breaks through that area of resistance, that trend line right there, especially on Tesla, a very watched stock, is that going to create some upwards momentum? But like I said, all things considered, the chart's perfectly fine. But for you traders that are, kind of like to play those breakouts, I think that trend line makes a lot of sense to at least get thrown into place. Next one, NKLA. And I'm not going to say the chart's destroyed, but it's certainly starting to look very, very shaky. And I say that for two reasons, and it has to do with the moving averages. So just from a very basic surface deep understanding, if you have it, I'm sure you've heard of the 50-period moving average, the 200-period moving average, and you know that when the price is above those moving averages, you want to see the price stay above it. And that's the opposite happened here. The price broke below the pink line, which on my chart represents a 200-period moving average, and it broke below the purple line, the 50-period moving average. Now, to be fair, does that destroy everything? It does not, because as you can see here, the price is still higher than where it was from down in this area of the chart. But it is a red flag of where you got to throw out a very important question of, is this the beginning of the end? Have the bulls lost control, and are the bears going to take back over control? And is this thing getting ready to get pushed right back into this range where it already was? Now, to be fair, there's no guarantees. So maybe this is just a little bit of an overblown situation. The price is going to consolidate out and then curl back upwards and get up into that range once again. But as things stand right now, things are looking very shaky, especially when you consider the last 30 minutes here. The momentum seems to be staying quite strong. So am I saying the bears are in total control? I'm not going to go that far, but they've definitely taken over control a little bit, and they're clearly trying to take over that much more control. So we'll see how these next couple of days play out. Next one here, ticker symbol TQQQ, which is an ETF that measures the NASDAQ market. So if you believe the NASDAQ market as a whole is going to go up, this one will also go up. And the NASDAQ had a good day today, and this one had a good day today. So some updates here need to be made. So the first update let me just get rid of that level. It's served its purpose for now. But first update, which is that rule which you've heard, when levels of resistance are broken close above, you want to see them act as support. So one of the newest areas of support now moving forward on the week, right here at the $49.80 mark. And then you can see the price is essentially right at that level. So I'm still going to consider that a level of support now because the price spent quite a bit of time above it. But that's certainly the ideal level. When you say, Clay, what would make this chart look the absolute strongest? That would be if the price can stay above 50.35. But if the price does drop below it, and you can see actually right now it is slightly below it, but again, I'm still going to consider that a level of support. But even if it does pull back a little bit more, not the end of the world, because you still have 49.80, you still have the 50-period moving average, you have a lot of areas of support. And again, this is all within that context right there of a very strong overall uptrend. In terms of those areas of resistance, just going back to that very basic question, where did the party finally stop today? And that was right up there at about $50.60, so keep an eye on that. But all things considered, this one's been putting in those higher highs and higher lows, and that is by far what matters most. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you like what you saw here, then I want you to go get signed up for that free class. It'll be later on in the week, Thursday, December 21st at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So I hope to see you there. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, please do two things for me. Hit the like button, leave a comment, say hi, say Merry Christmas. Tell me what you traded today. Give me your watch list for tomorrow. But those two things help out with the algorithm. They help out the channel, and I really do appreciate it. And I thank you in advance for doing that. So again, go get signed up for that free training. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.